Recently, I started learning standalone application development with Java. So the learning process was exciting, but there was one significant pain point, which is every time I'm working with user inputs, I have to spend an excessive amount of validating all the inputs rather than focusing about the logic. So I know the validation is a must, but the real problem is do we really have to validate all the inputs by ourselves? Or, can't we just hand over the responsibility to a third party package or a library? So, this video is about Spark Validator, which I developed, and let's get started. Hi, I'm Vishwa Kalhara. I'm a software engineering undergraduate. Okay, so within the next couple of sections of this video, I'm going to go through with the documentation, the installation, and also with you guys, I'm going to validate this form using the Spark Validator. First of all, I'll go to the documentation. Also, you guys can also go to the repository using the link in the description down below. So okay, anyways, so this is the jar file that you have to download, and down below there's the documentation. Yeah, but first I'll go to the release notes. So in here you can see this package includes two classes, Spark and Spark exception. This Spark class handles all of the validation stuff, but this Spark exception class handles all of the exception stuff. Alright, and also down below there are a bunch of overloaded constructors and also a bunch of methods that we can use to validate. Alright, in this case I'll use NetBeans, but if you are not familiar with it, you can use whatever the IDE you want because the steps are pretty much same now. Okay, so I'll go to the projects and the project that I'm using and right click on the libraries and add jar folder. So in here I'll add the spark.jar file. Alright, and then the second step is go to this source and then import the file. So in here import com.vishwa. And also I'll import all of the classes. Okay, let's validate this email field. So I'll go to the btn submit action performed block and then okay, so I'll create a new object of Spark class, Spark, and then I'll provide the display name, which is email, and then I'll pass the value from the text box. So txt email dot get text. Alright, so just like that, and also I'll put the semicolon. Now I'll go through with the documentation. Okay, so so under the string methods, you can see there are a bunch of methods that we can use to validate strings. Okay, now I'll use this required method, which can be used to ensure the inputted string is not a blank, but if it is, it will throw a Spark exception. Okay, so which means we have to handle it or we have to rethrow it. Okay, so but in this case I'll handle it using a try catch block. So I'll type try. Alright, and then I'll put this line here, and also in this case we have to use the Spark exception. Okay, so Spark exception, and then in here I'll chain the required method. So just like this, and also I'll format the code, and in here I'll show an error message, joption pane dot show message dialog, and then the first argument is this, and then e dot get message, and then the third argument is e dot title, which comes from the Spark exception class, and then the fourth argument is joption pane dot error message. Alright, so just like this. Now let's see what happened Okay, so now I'll leave this email field as a blank and then I'll submit the form. Okay, so now we are getting this generic error message based on the display name that we have passed in the Spark constructor. So this is the display name. Okay, so I'll OK and close the application. Now I need to check whether the email is a valid email or not. So I'll go back to the source and then in here I'll chain another method email, and then that's it. So now I'll rerun the program and see what will happen. So I'll leave the email field as blank. So this is the message that we get first, and then I'll type Vishwa, which is not a valid email. So and I'll submit. So we are getting this error message, invalid email. Alright, now to check whether our validations are passing, in here I'll put a simple system out println as success. Okay, and I'll rerun the program. Alright, so first of all I'll leave the email as blank and submit. So we are getting the message that the email cannot be empty, and I'll type an invalid email, Vishwa, submit invalid email, and now I'll type a valid email at gmail.com and submit. Okay, so in the console you can see the success message, so which means our validations are working. Now I need to get the inputted data from the user and assign it to a variable. Okay, so before that I'll go to the documentation, and in here you can see this end string method. Alright, so which returns a string, the inputted data. Alright, so and then in here I'll chain that method too. So the end string, and then in here I'll assign it to a string variable. Alright, now I'll do another system out println here. So just like this we can get the email, and I'll rerun the program. So let's check once again whether our validations are passing or not. So I'll leave it as a blank. Email cannot be empty and invalid email, done, and a valid email at gmail.com. Alright, so here we are getting the data from the user. Okay. Now let's validate this name field. Alright, so in here I'll create a new Spark object, new Spark, and the display name is name, and then the input, so the text box name dot get text, and then in here I'll chain the required method, and also I'll return the string. Okay, so end string, and I'll assign it to a string variable, string name, and I'll do a system out println here to get the name. Okay, so let's check this out. I'll close this one and rerun the project. So okay, so in here I'm not going to validate the email because that's working. So vishwa@gmail.com, and now I'll leave the name as blank, and we are getting this error message, name cannot be empty, and in here I'll type Vishwa Kalhara and submit, and here we are. Okay, so which means up to this point our validations are working. Alright, now let's talk about a what if scenario. Okay, so what if we want to change the error message? Okay, so I'll go back to the documentation, and in here Okay, so here you can see most of the methods are overloaded. Okay, so look at this required method. So this method doesn't accept any parameters, but this one do. Okay, so this one accepts the error message. Okay, so same as that. See this min length method. This one accepts the length, only one parameter, but this one accepts two. All right. The first one is an int, and the second one is a string. Okay, so yeah, so like that, this max length methods. All right, so back to the NetBeans. In here I will specify the error message. So I'll type custom error message, and then I'll type email cannot be empty. Sorry, I'll type email is empty. Okay, now I'll rerun the program and see what will happen. Okay, so now the email is blank and I'll submit. So we are getting our custom error message. All right, so look how cool is this. Okay, so same as that, I'll copy this error message and paste it to here. So right, so we are in here, we are missing double quotation. Okay, cool. So, and this one is name, and then I'll rerun. Okay, now the email custom error message, and I'll type vishwa@gmail.com, and I'll leave the name as blank, and now we are getting the custom error message for the name field. All right, let's validate these two fields. All right, so if you know, jPassword field returns a char array instead of a string. All right, so which means we can't use the same constructor that we used before. Okay, so back to the documentation. So here under the constructors, you can see the constructors are also overloaded. So here you can see the second constructor, this accepts a char array. Okay, so which means we can use this constructor to validate our password fields. All right, so back to the source, and in here I'll create a new object of Spark, and then the display name is password, and the input is txt password. Okay, this one, and get password. Okay, this one. So, and also I'll change the required method. All right, let's run the program. Okay, before that, I'll go to the design and give some default values to email and passwords, because I don't want to, fill these two over and over again. Okay, so vishwa@gmail.com, and the name is Vishwa Kalhara. Alright, and then I'll rerun the program. So now I'll leave the password as blank and submit. Okay, so we are getting the message, the password cannot be empty. Alright, so okay, and then let's talk about some advanced string validation stuff. Okay, for example, I want to validate whether the password has more than 8 characters and less than 12 characters. Alright, so let's do that. So in here I'll change the min length method, so this one. So the argument is 8, and then I'll change another method, max length, with 12. Alright, so let's check this out. So okay, in here I'll type 1 2 3 4 5 and then submit. We are getting the password must include more than 8 characters. Alright, so and I'll type 6 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. Alright, so which is more than 12 characters. So now we are getting this error, password must include less than 12 characters. Alright, so which means our the validations are working. Okay, so now I'll give a password with the length between 8 and 12, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and then I'll submit. So in the output pane, so we can see the success message. Alright, now we have to validate whether the password and the confirm passwords are matching or not. Okay, so usually we have to use a if block, and within the parentheses we have to do the give the condition. But actually this library also have a built-in method to do that. Okay, so I'll go back to the documentation in under the string methods. Okay, so this one, this equals method ensures that the string, actually the input string, equals to the specific string. Alright, so this equal method has to actually accepts two parameters. The first one is the other string and the second one is the error message. Okay, so let's implement that too. Alright, so actually before that I'll assign the password to a string variable. Okay, so string password equals, and then I'll the method is end string. Alright, so there's a typo. Okay, now I'll create a new object of Spark, new Spark, and then the display name is confirm password, and the second parameter is the input value. Okay, so text box conf password dot get password, this one, and then I'll chain the equals method. Alright, also before that we have to do the required thing, and then I'll chain the equals method. Okay, so this equals method, okay, so in here I'll pass the password variable and then the error message. Okay, so the passwords are not matching. Alright, and then I'll put the semicolon 2, and okay, let's check this out. Okay, so I'll type 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and then a wrong, and then I'll leave this as blank. So we are getting this error message, confirm password cannot be empty, and then I'll type a wrong password 1 2 3 4. Okay, so the passwords are not matching, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, so let's see what will happen. Okay, so here again we are getting the success message on the console. Let's do some integer validations using this age field. Alright, so I want to validate whether the age is actually more than 18 and less than 50. Alright, so let's do that too. So in here I'll create a new Spark object, and then I'll pass the display name as age, and the input is txt box age and get text, and then I'll chain the min method. Alright, so this should be 18, and then alright, so this is a method, and then I run the program. Okay, so actually I'll give some default values to these two also. Alright, and then I'll rerun. Alright, now I'll pass 5. Okay, so submit, and then we are getting this error message from the Spark validator, incompatible usage of chained method. Alright, so read the documentation. Okay, now I'll go to the source, and then this get text method returns, we can see it here. See, this get text method returns a string, alright, but to work with integers we have to cast it to an integer now. So that's the problem. Alright, so I'll go to the documentation. So under the integer methods we can see this toInt method. Alright, so I'll use that method to cast it to an integer. Alright, now I'll rerun the program. Let's see what will happen. So I'll put 5 and submit. Alright, so we are getting the age must be greater than 18. Alright, so same as that, I'll change the min method, sorry, the max method, max and 50. Okay, so alright, now let's rerun the program and test this for the last time. So 5 and submit. Yeah, the age must be greater than 18, and I'll type 51, submit, age must be less than 50. Alright, so which means our validations are working. Now let's see how I assign the value as an integer. Alright, so in here also I'll go back to the documentation. In here we can see this endInt method. Okay, so just like the endString method, this endString method returns as a string, but this endInt method returns as an int. Alright, so I'll call that method endInt, and then I'll assign the value into a int variable. Alright, so int age. Alright, so this is the content, and I think now you know how to use the Spark Validator and how powerful is this library. Okay, so and on the other hand, this is the first version. So if you have spotted a bug, please go to the repo, the link in the description down below. Go to the issues and please file an issue. Alright. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video, and also make sure to subscribe the channel, because actually these days I'm doing a whole series of videos on YouTube about the new web app I'm building, which is an end-to-end encrypted money management tool. So make sure to subscribe the channel, and also give a thumbs up to this video, and also make sure to leave your honest opinion and your thoughts about this library. Yeah, also, so I'll see you guys in the next one.